Thank you for listening in on my latest update. As the summer winds down, we look forward to the reopening of our schools this fall. The superintendent, his leadership team, the newly formed task force, and our school committee have worked endlessly this summer on plans to reopen our schools safely and efficiently. Unfortunately, a staff member at Newburyport High School tested positive last week for COVID-19. The staff member is currently in quarantine for at least 14 days, had contact with only one other staff who also remains in quarantine. The staff is expected to make a full recovery. This case, though, serves as a reminder that this virus is still very much with us and can appear anywhere at any time. Thus, our need for continued vigilance and commitment to keeping our community safe. A deep cleaning of the high school has since been completed, and the plan for reopening the high school remains in place. Each grade level at the high school will attend one day of orientation during the week of September 15th through the 18th, and the orientation will provide students the opportunity to meet their teachers and learn new safety protocols ahead of in-person instruction. Then from September 21st to the 2nd of October, the high school will be fully remote. Each grade will have the opportunity to participate in one Clipper block and advisory period that students can attend in person to check in with their teacher advisor. On October 5th, the high school will enter its hybrid learning plan, which has students attending in-person classes 2 days a week on an 8-day rotation. On September 16th, students in 1st through 8th grades will begin the year in a hybrid learning model. As part of the plan, students will be divided into cohorts, or groups that will dictate what days and times they will be learning and in the classroom, and what days and times they will learn remotely. Cohorts will also allow for the district to keep students in smaller groups, promoting social distancing and simplifying contact tracing if needed. Students in pre-kindergarten and kindergarten will attend school 4 days a week using a half-day model. Please continue to check the school district website for updates and announcements. I do want to thank everyone involved in the reopening process, including the many parents and families who participated in and provided feedback as we developed plans. And a special thank you to our teachers and staff as they continued their professional development over the summer in preparation for the upcoming school year in what will look and feel different than any they have previously experienced. Additionally, this week, the school committee voted unanimously to adopt a resolution that outlines policies designed to support racial equity in the district. The committee reviewed 3 versions of a proposed anti-racism resolution, which was spurred by the killing of George Floyd at the hands of Minnesota police officers on May 25th. The resolution clarifies how schools should strive to be anti-racist through diversity and inclusion in the classroom, the curriculum, the staff, and more. The final version included an amendment that came from the Mass Association of School Committee and states, "We must ensure our own school culture and that every district in the Commonwealth is anti-racist, that acknowledges that all lives cannot matter until Black lives matter." The committee also discussed hiring more diverse staff, including expanded curriculums on this subject. The district leadership team will work to bring all members of the school community on board and to modify the resolution as we incorporate these ideals into the education of our children. As most of you know, the city has been addressing issues related to race and equity over the last few months, though our recent investigation regarding a city police officer's actions during a Police Lives Matter protest in June was found to be inconclusive, the city will be looking at the recommendations to improve safety and security across the city. The recommendations include replacing and repairing non-operational traffic cameras throughout the city, adding additional security cameras around highly populated areas and parking lots, equipping police officers with dash cameras and personal body cameras, and ensuring officers are up to date with sensitivity and cultural awareness training. The non-operational cameras at traffic lights have been in the city's capital plan for a few years, and we are looking at options to fund this capital expenditure. I will be working with the City Council and my staff on pushing these items forward as part of a larger initiative that will be dedicated to racial equity, diversion, and inclusion. Today, we released a call to launch the Newburyport Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Alliance, or in short, the DEI Alliance. This new alliance will focus on racial equity issues in our community. It will be a collaborative effort and will focus on developing measurable and attainable goals for a sustainable community plan on racial justice. The Alliance will carry out a thorough review of city policies, services, and ordinances, as well as inequity in our community systems. The group will also report out clear recommendations, including ways in which success will be measured. Trainings and community conversations will also be part of the process to convey that Newburyport does not tolerate racism and embraces diversity and inclusion. This is a citywide initiative, and there's important work for many more stakeholders. City funds have been dedicated to work on equity issues internally as well as community-wide, and we will be pursuing technical assistance to create a racial equity action plan with trainings to facilitate and make meaningful action to advance racial equity in Newburyport. The Alliance will play a pivotal role in this process. To be considered for the Newburyport DEI Alliance, applicants must submit a cover letter and a resume indicating why you would like to serve on the Alliance, what experience, background, or expertise you bring, and what you hope the Alliance will achieve. In addition, applicants must be able to commit to a minimum of 10 hours a month of time dedicated to DEI's work. The goal is to assemble as broad and as inclusive an alliance as possible in terms of diversity. It is anticipated that local political, religious, business, and community advocates will be represented. Emphasis will be placed on choosing members that represent a diversity of stakeholders based on age, gender, race, sexual orientation, religion, education, and more. Residency in Newburyport will be prioritized in the selection process. However, non-resident stakeholders who are active members or employees of organizations, associations, and nonprofits in our community are also encouraged to apply and will be considered. Interested individuals should submit their applications by email to mayor@cityofnewburyport.com and include in the subject heading DEI application. The deadline to apply is 6 p.m. Friday, September 25th, 2020. We welcome your participation as we begin this critically important work. Please help us move forward. Thank you. The non-essential water restriction is still in place due to the emergence of that algae bloom on our reservoirs. Since this occurred, the Newburyport Department of Public Services Water Division has continued conducting testing of our water. There is no indication of toxins currently present in the treated drinking water, and water remains safe for drinking and all other essential uses. However, we continue to have the mandatory water restrictions in place as it is helping to control the spread of the algae bloom. Please understand that while the bloom is the primary driver for the water restriction, our region is also currently in drought condition that could have triggered a water restriction as well. So thank you to all the residents who are honoring the water restrictions and for the many who have turned off their irrigation systems temporarily. As I mentioned, testing will be ongoing, both for the immediate situation and going forward as part of our regular monitoring. We are working with limnologists who have expertise and have been treating our algae blooms safely. The treatment does not have an effect on the drinking water, and we are hopeful that the bloom will be eradicated shortly and that our water practices can return to normal. I am also very pleased to announce that the Merrimack Valley Regional Transit Authority has launched a new bus route for Newburyport riders that stops throughout the city. We have been working with the Merrimack Valley Regional Transit Authority for several years to expand and improve public transit service in the city of Newburyport. The service is a great option for those who may not longer drive or do not have a car, and will help also to reduce traffic and emissions by reducing the need for use of your personal vehicle while traveling locally. The new line will travel a looped route entirely within Newburyport, allowing for frequent and reliable bus service to different spots throughout the city. The route includes High Street, and could be an additional option for students to get to and from Newburyport High School. The route will run on the half hour from 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. on weekdays and from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. on the weekends. I want to thank the Regional Transit Authority for working with us on improving our public transportation system and providing this great option for anyone looking to travel around Newburyport. For more information, riders can check with the Merrimack Valley Regional Transit Authority website at mvrta.com. Another challenge we're working on is with the shoreline stabilization of Plum Island's Reservation Terrace and neighborhood. The city has been working with engineering consultants and our Conservation Commission to design a near-term solution. The design is a row of sand-filled super sacks that will be installed in the area where the dune previously stood. We hope these will provide protection ahead of the looming winter storm season. The work is urgent for the neighborhood's protection due to an April storm that wiped out much of the dune system along the street and destroyed and impacted at least one home. We also have to protect the water and sewer systems there, as well as all of our residences in the area, which have become extremely vulnerable and susceptible due to future storm surges. The super sacks hopefully will hold out until the city can implement long-term protection, which would include the dredging of the Merrimack River. We've been working with the Army Corps of Engineers on this and are hopeful with a combination of these strategies and the dredge of the river to replace the sacks with the dune and berm there. The application process is underway for the $400,000 grant award by the Department of Housing and Community Development. The program provides $10,000 grants to income-qualified small businesses with 5 or fewer employees to pay for rent, mortgage, employee wages, and technical assistance. The City of Amesbury Department of Community and Economic Development is administering the grant program on behalf of both communities. Applications will continue to be accepted until the grant money is dispersed. Please visit the city website and go to Small Business Relief Grants, now available on the homepage, to apply online. In what has become a cherished tradition, I am pleased to welcome the Exchange Club of Newburyport's 11th annual Field of Honor on the Bartlett Mall. The display coincides with the anniversary of September 11th, 2001, and honors those lost in the terrorist attacks, as well as veterans, active members of the military, first responders, and personal heroes. How fitting it is that this year's celebration pays tribute to our healthcare workers, first responders, essential workers, and those affected by COVID-19. Who are these heroes, and what have they done during these challenging times? They are all of our workers who have served our community. Grocery workers, bank employees, postal workers, restaurant workers, pharmacy workers, trash collectors, and others. They are teachers, our educators, our public servants, our local government, our local nonprofits, and social service providers, those that are taking care of those less fortunate, our elderly, and many, many more who have provided essential services. And to our healthcare workers and our first responders who have been on the front lines, leaving their own families at home to care for others and putting themselves at risk. We take the time now to acknowledge all of their efforts in working together to minimize the impact of COVID-19 in our community. Through all of this, our heroes have always kept in mind our first priority: the health, the safety, and well-being of the citizens of Newburyport. Given this time of crisis in our nation, it is my hope that the display of flags can help to remind us all what America stands for. A time to reflect and focus on what is most important in our lives: our families, our friends, our neighbors, and our community. Lastly, I want you to know that I understand that people are tired of the restrictions and the sacrifices they continue to have to make surrounding the pandemic. None of us anticipated that we would end up living a significant portion of our lives away from people we would normally spend time with. And I understand that our inability to hug people, to engage in any kind of traditional group gathering that we would normally be doing as a matter of course, is exhausting. I feel the same way. But we cannot throw up our hands and give up on combating COVID-19. We must stay the course in fighting the coronavirus in our community. We are doing such a great job. Thank you, and have a wonderful weekend.